I was doing some research the other day when I came across this image of a battleship just exploding. It's a pretty gnarly photo. I mean, you can clearly see the blast wave hitting the water. After staring at it a moment, I realized I wasn't looking at an explosion hitting the ship. I was looking at the most absurdly oversized muzzle flash I'd ever seen. The ship was actually firing several massive guns all at the same time. And that's when I realized that I know almost nothing about battleships or naval warfare for that matter. All of these questions come to mind, like how big are the ships? How powerful are they? What kind of guns do they have? How do they float? And the more I researched, the more I discovered just how impressive these vessels really are and the feat of engineering it takes to create them. So when World of Warships reached out to me asking if I would like to make a video, I was like, yes, please let me do it, because I wanted to share some of the crazier things I've learned. So sit back, relax, and come on this journey with me while we discover some cool fun facts about warships.
We're going places that we can't normally go.
First things first, why don't battleships just sink? They're these huge amalgamations of metal and concrete that somehow float. How is this even possible? Well, something you might not realize that is actually really interesting about water is that it is heavy. Like, really heavy. A 1 meter cube of it weighs a metric ton, or 2,200 pounds. This box of water weighs more than 16 people, and that's just because water is super dense. It weighs a lot. The whole idea of floating is based on the fact that if something is lighter than water, it stays on top of that water. But boats and ships are heavier than water, as evidenced by all the ships at the bottom of the ocean, and yet they're somehow normally floating on top. The thing is though, is that they are shaped in a way to displace water, pushing it aside, replacing it with just empty air. And even though boats are heavy, the water they push aside is heavier, and that's the entire idea. They're pushing aside water that weighs more than them. That displaced water exerts an upward force on the boats, keeping them afloat, and that is called buoyancy, and that's what keeps pretty much all boats afloat. The crazy thing is that there's not really an upper limit to this concept. You could have a boat the size of a city as long as it weighs less than the water it pushes aside. Our limits there are mostly with material science and engineering, but it's certainly not for lack of trying. We've tried to make some very big boats. Aircraft carriers are some of the largest floating things in existence. Take the USS Enterprise, for example. It was commissioned in the mid-23rd century by the Federation Starfleet to help Oh wait, that's not right. Wrong Enterprise. Hold up, back up. The USS Enterprise aircraft carrier, which is actually the 8th ship to carry that Enterprise name, was the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier and served for over 50 years. Aircraft carriers are massive because they're not only actual runways for airplanes, but they're also home to thousands of sailors and dozens of aircrafts. Friggin' floating aircraft hangar. The USS Enterprise in particular is the longest warship to have ever been created, with a length of 1,123 feet. If stood vertically, it would stand about 100 feet taller than the US Bank building in downtown Los Angeles. That would make it taller than every single building in the entire state of California. Even in New York City, it'd become the 7th largest building and actually maybe blend in? You wouldn't be able to tell it's there? Okay, yeah, warships are big, but let's bring it back to battleships for a moment. Remember that photo from the beginning of the video? Well, it turns out that that ship is the decommissioned USS Iowa, which is now a museum here in Long Beach. That's actually really close to us, so obviously we had to go check it out. Look at these guns! Oh my God. The most interesting thing about this ship, in my opinion, is the fact that it has 3 turrets, each with 3 guns, and each of those guns have bullets that are 16 inches in diameter. This was also outfitted at one point to take on nuclear shells. So imagine like a bullet that's also a nuclear bomb. This is the biggest bullet barrel I've ever seen. Bullet barrel. Bullet barrel. Bullet bill. I mean, obviously it's not the Paris gun shooting from other countries, but you know, fun fact, this ship is about 4 feet longer than the Titanic. This entire thing is the turret, and this isn't even actually attached to the ship, it's just sitting here. It's just like dropped in. If this was to capsize, it would fall out and sink. These guns are so powerful that they've created this misconception that if you were to fire all 9 of them sideways at the exact same time, that the ship wouldn't be able to handle it and it would just rock over upside down. But that doesn't happen because water is super heavy, don't forget, and it acts as a buffer. So yeah, the ship might move like maybe 3 to 6 feet sideways, but it's not gonna capsize, not even close. And these are 50 caliber guns, meaning that the barrel length is 50 times longer than the diameter of the bullet that it fires. And the bullets, oh my God, the bullets are massive. They're 16 inches in diameter, 6 feet tall, and weigh 2,700 pounds. They weigh as much as Nick's car. So every time this ship fires one of those bullets, it's as if it's firing a Kia Soul. That's a lot of hamsters. So as you can see, we have 6 of these 110-pound explosive bags, and they're filled with just like this explosive propellant that all explodes at the same time, firing this bullet super far. far. But here's where my mind was truly blown away regarding these guns. Not only are the bullets themselves like stupid heavy, but they can be fired really far. The Mark 8 gun turrets of this ship can actually fire projectiles 24 miles away. Now, 24 miles might not seem like all that far, it's less distance than a marathon, but that's still so far away the ship can't even see the target it's shooting at. Let me show you what I mean. So if you were to actually look out at the horizon while standing on the coast of the ocean, you'd only be seeing about 3 miles before the curvature of the Earth starts hiding everything behind it because, you know, the Earth is round. And we're actually standing about 100 feet up on the water right now, so we can even see further. But even the rangefinder of the USS can only see about 16 miles, so anything beyond that is just hidden by the horizon. Imagine this, you know JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena? They're the ones responsible for putting, you know, robotic rovers on Mars. Well, let's say that the Martians aren't too happy about us driving around on their turf, and they decide to invade the JPL facility in order to stop us. Theoretically, to defend ourselves, we could just dock this ship in Santa Monica and be within firing range of the mothership. Talk about defending Earth with 1940s technology. And fire! Now, even though this round is flying at a crazy fast velocity, at maximum range it still takes about 1.5 minutes to reach the target. It has a time of flight of about 86 seconds. And since I wanted to play this entire shot out in real time, that actually gives me a moment to talk to you about World of Warships Legends. It is the latest version of the Warships franchise built from the ground up with console gaming in mind. I've personally been playing on the PlayStation 4, but you can play on Xbox or PC as well. Legends puts the power of history's greatest warships into your hands, allowing you to recruit legendary commanders and fight for naval supremacy with other players around the world. The game has officially launched with more content, achievements, and ships than ever before, including the infamous German battleship Tirpitz, which is now the most powerful ship in the game and only available for the next few weeks. World of Warships Legends is available to play right now for free, and if you want to experience what it's like to fire all 9 of these guns at the same time, click the link in the description so you can start playing it today. And boom! The Martians have now been taken out and Earth has been saved again. But you know what could have also taken out the Martian ships? Frickin' guided cruise missiles, dude! And that's actually why we don't see battleships anymore in any navy. They've become obsolete. In today's modern world, it's all about air superiority and less about direct naval engagements. Battleships like the USS Iowa were all about having thick armor and big guns, but were ultimately too costly to operate compared to smaller and faster cruisers that could launch missiles from a much longer range. In spite of that, however, battleships are still incredibly impressive feats of engineering, especially considering that this ship was built almost 80 years ago. It stands as a testament to human ingenuity and gumption in a time where problems couldn't be solved by just simply Googling the answer.